All right, just wanted to give a quick, maybe not so quick, depending on how long it goes, update on this video is canceling part of a series, canceling out my job, part 3, and just to recap, for some reason this video is showing up in your algorithm or in your feed, and you're wondering what this part 3 is. So I'm a business executive. I've been with my organization for 8 years. Had gone through an interview process with another company for a great opportunity, and as president CEO in my current role, this series of videos is really talking about from how I gave my notice and kind of the steps that have happened since then, even the human side in terms of what I'm feeling and what I'm sensing others are feeling. So where we're at, had already given a notice a week ago yesterday. So this, as of this recording, we're in February. By the time I get this thing posted up, it'll probably be March. But I gave my notice on a Monday, so the previous Monday. So we're a week and 1 day. Only 2 people really knew. And then we used last week to kind of figure out the next steps, right? So the next steps were yesterday, Monday, that I was going to individually reach out to the members of my management team, so managers that report to me. Short of my vice president, I let her know the same day I gave my notice, because she's second in command next to me, and should something happen or whatever, she takes over. So I felt it was appropriate for her to know. I actually told her before I officially gave my notice because of our personal working relationship. So I had the calls yesterday, so I spoke with the head of sales. He's a guy I hired and have promoted throughout the years. He went from individual contributor, working his way up to head of sales. Completely stunned, and we spoke for about an hour and a half on the phone, told him my reasons, and for the points of this video, there's certainly contributing factors by my current organization that has led me to be susceptible to taking that call from a recruiter for another opportunity, right? And it's not really any one thing with my current company. We got acquired by a much larger company, which created tons of red tape. Everything takes forever to get done. There's a process. You can't be agile any longer. They don't understand the market because it's an extremely large company. They just expect results right away. We're in a market with long sales cycle. You just can't walk in and say, whatever your best forecast was, I want to add 5 million to it, for example. You have to be able to build to that and talk about, okay, what do we need to do to build towards that? So anyway, that's kind of another discussion. But so for this video, and just for us talking here between us, those are contributing factors. But as I was speaking to my management team, speaking to the head of sales, I said it had nothing really to do with the organization. It was just primarily an opportunity that I could not say no to. And that is the truth. It's an opportunity I cannot say no to, and I'm very excited about. So very happy for me, congratulated me, but also stunned and shocked. And really wants to know kind of like what the next steps are, right? Who's going to take over? So then I spoke to my head of operations. Now, this guy, I have a lot of respect. Oh, I respect everybody, but I have respect for him in the sense that previously, before he worked at this company, he's been here for 5 years. And before that, he had been in executive roles. He had been a CEO at one point. So he's experienced, right? So he more or less went right into, I'm very concerned for our people. They're going to ask a lot of questions that you're leaving and why, and we need to be united as a management team with our messaging. And he's on 1,000% right. So so that call was about an hour, right? And I talked to him about like what I think they're planning on doing next and whatnot, the communication plan. Lastly, I talked to the head of quality. He's a very experienced guy. He was very nervous, and I could tell it was very unsettling for him. He was at a loss of words, totally stunned. And I gotta say, just on a personal side, I feel when you're a leader, you put your people before yourself, right? Their well-being, getting their job done, support, essentially the people that report to you or you're responsible for are like your internal customers, right? So you put them first. In this situation, when you announce that you're leaving the company because you made a decision for yourself, it goes against the grain a bit, right? So like, I'm struggling personally with the fact that I'm causing this angst, if you will, or uneasiness, unsettledness with these people because of a personal decision that I made for myself. So that's kind of difficult for me because I just want to swoop in and fix it. And honestly, the answer to fix it is for me to change my mind and say, oh no, I'm just going to stay at the company. And that would fix it, right? But that's not what I'm going to do. Unfortunately, and I really respect these people. I've been working with them, as I said before, for 8 years. And then something else on the personal side is the one person that reports to me, who I'm close to, through thick and thin, we've seen it all, has definitely begun to distance themselves from me in a sense that I get cold responses now. We normally communicate multiple times throughout the day, whether it's text, messaging, or phone call. It's gone to nearly nothing. And I could just sense the icy cold when I'm in a virtual meeting or a physical meeting with this individual. Actually, next week will be the first time I see these people face to face. So it wouldn't have been a physical meeting yet, but and our offices are next to each other. So I hope I can thaw that ice because, again, I am potentially rocking some people's worlds. And it's not because they're worried about what's going to happen to the company with me going. They're not like, oh, this guy, Ed, he's what makes the company go. It's going to fall down if he leaves. No, I don't think of myself that way. That is a very arrogant, foolish way of thinking. And if you legit feel that way, either you're out of touch with yourself, or you set the organization up in a way to fail without you, and that's not a good leader. Organization should go on perfectly smooth after I leave, with a good transition, and everyone already, the company's built with redundancies. I've built it in a way that they move on. So the next step after that yesterday, that was a long afternoon, a lot of talk time. Today, I had a group call with those department heads that report to me that I had the individual calls with yesterday, and then my superior over in Europe. And it was more or less to just get what they're thinking out on the table, out in the open, address it, kind of tell them where we're thinking with the process, concerns about how our people are going to react, kind of thing. So that is that is really what is so far has taken place, and the group meeting went about a half hour today, I think, and yeah, I mean there wasn't anything really new or crazy that came out of that. But it was weird though, because I already am starting to feel like I'm not cast off to the side, but like, but kind of on the side looking in a way. And I will be here for the end of 2 months. I gave them a long runway to be supportive. I just didn't want to like rip the Band-Aid off and just go at 2 weeks' notice. That would be a mess. That would have created chaos, and I just don't feel that is being responsible. So that's where we're at so far, and the next step is I am going to have a company meeting Monday. As of this recording, it is Tuesday, so I'll have it Monday when I'm physically at the office location, and that will take place. I'll probably have it like late morning because I do have employees working on the West Coast and Eastern time zones located. So we'll do that, and that is where I'm gonna have to put some thoughts together. I'm probably just not gonna stand in front of the company and say, okay, well, thanks for all jumping on. Effective 2 weeks ago, I resigned. Yeah. You know, I think I will try to write something for myself. Nothing too fancy, couple sentences just to kind of speak. And I was thinking of kind of going along the lines of what I said earlier in this video about leadership. To me is about putting your people first, and occasionally you have to go against the grain and put yourself first. And you know, so I'm thinking of kind of using something along those lines or that gist for my verbal communication during the company meeting on Monday. And that'll probably be, after that will probably be when I do like the next video, right? So that's what's going on. But in the short term, I'm just working on the day-to-day tasks that I'm still responsible for and getting those done, and clearing out, not to get a lot of junk email, but like I do subscribe to industry things, industry events and whatnot, and I know from many experiences that when I shut it down for good and I walk away, somebody will have access to my inbox, you know, to monitor any kind of communication that might come in. And I know from experience that when you hand over an inbox that's a disaster, it's annoying for the person now taking it over. Like my predecessor used to complain to me how many emails they received on a daily basis, and I used to be like, oh man, wow, you're really busy. And then when I inherited their inbox when they left the company, like they got like over 100 emails a day, but I would say 98% of it was just spam. It was so frustrating, so annoying. So I don't want to be that guy. I keep a tight inbox anyway, but just for things that like I know are meaningless. Like, for example, there's a networking group that I belong to for the industry in the local area here, and occasionally I'll go to like a breakfast networking event. So I'm on that email list, right? So I know when the events are. That's meaningless to somebody in the Midwest monitoring my email. So things like that I will unsubscribe and whatnot, which is kind of sad. So things left to do on my to-do list, right? Quite a bit of things. So I have a company vehicle. It's shown up in on this channel. It's a white Jeep Grand Cherokee that I've had since brand new, since I've started with the company, and went from 11 miles to now 205,000 miles. I would like to buy that from the company and kind of keep it as a second vehicle because it's just been so reliable. They're not going to give it to the next person. You don't give a vehicle with over 200,000 miles on it to a new employee. So, and it's not going to be worth much, right? So I would like to get my hands on that. I have to. My cell phone is a work phone, but I transferred my personal number, which I've had since 2001, to it. So like I have to like untangle that and get myself a cell phone. Even if in the new gig I get a phone, like I like there would be a hot second between the time I turn in my phone and getting my new phone. So like I'm gonna have to have two phones for a tad. And I did that when I started this job for a number of years. Had two phones. It's a pain, but fine. And then there's things like the company credit card for the entire company is in my name with the bank. My bank access has to be revoked. All of that, and then for things like wire transfers and stuff, like my vice president will create a wire transfer to pay a bill, right? Pay an invoice. And then I have to approve it. Well, we have to set that up so someone else is approving it because it's and within our company we have this like checks and balances. The same person who's creating the wire can't also approve it. So things like that have to be worked out. There's loose oddball ends with certain people that I have to kind of tie up. So that's that, and there's a growing list, but those are just some off the top of my head. Oh yeah, the Midwest location. I forget if I said this already. The Midwest location. I have an apartment there with a lease that has to be canceled out, and the big piece is the apartment. And I've done videos on this channel from the Midwest location. That is a furnished location that I had rented, but I have clothes there, food there, just not too like not crazy stuff, nothing more than anyone ordinarily would have, but like still it's 700 miles away, and I have to get that stuff back. So that likely over the course of February and March will be 2 road trips. While the white Jeep is a company vehicle, if you follow the channel, I also have a Suburban as my personal car. I think the Suburban will make the run there and back just because of sheer size. So those are some of the things. And then lastly, and I'm sure I'm missing a ton of things as I'm rambling on here, but it'll come together. And as I'm keeping my list, I think the last thing that I am not yet processing, or really have yet to really anticipate, is personally how I feel. So I am normally a very sentimental, attached type of person, and it has not hit me yet. And maybe when I get into maybe when I'm taking stuff down at the apartment or packing that up, or as we get to the final 2 weeks, whatever the last trip, that's probably when it's going to really hit me. The only difference is, from now and from other experiences, is just that experience, right? I, unfortunately, maybe you say unfortunately, have learned in business, like, yeah, I have acquaintances and people I would call friends, absolutely. But I haven't really, since my last job, adopted any like super best friends or super close friends, because this is the part of it that you set yourself up to be really difficult, and you end up potentially making an emotional decision. That could be staying with the job that you don't necessarily want to stay with, or skipping an opportunity because you will miss your best friend. I've tried to, and I've also seen some horrible things as well, where people, so-called friends, want to leverage, they get confused and they want to leverage their friendship to kind of cut corners or get a break at work or whatever. That's no good either. You don't want to put anyone in that situation. So while I haven't fully anticipated that, there's going to be some emotional feelings for me for sure, but I haven't allowed anyone really to get inside and be super close there, and it's not appropriate to at the executive level to. I mean, it's appropriate to have friends. You absolutely should have friends in the workplace for sure, and it's totally appropriate if you have friends that you hang out with regularly outside of work. Just my experience has been, when these big time changes occur, it just makes it more difficult. It's one of the reasons. I'm not saying like don't be friends with me. I didn't come here to make friends. No, not at all. Because there's people I consider friends, but they aren't really involved too much in my life outside of work, kind of thing. So, all right. Well, I've been rambling. This is canceling out my job part 3. Hopefully, I'll run part 4 after I communicate. After the cat is totally out of the bag, I've communicated it to all the employees that I'm responsible for, which should be Monday, and that probably to this point will have been the hardest part of this. So thanks for watching. Certainly comment for those of you who have left jobs that you really liked, the people that you really enjoyed working with and respected. Like to hear how you dealt with it, so feel free to comment. Like, subscribe, especially if you want to hear how this plays out, and I certainly appreciate people who have been chiming in. So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you on the next one.